If you've been playing Card Shop TCG Simulator, there's a pretty good chance your shop looks a bit like mine. You know, some shelves here, some card tables over there, a little bit of everything, and it's all kind of a beautiful chaos or a disorganized mess. At least speaking for myself, this is absolutely what happened with my first shop. But as I played the game more, and as I did more challenge runs, I began to learn things about how you can min-max. There are ways to play that get you much more experience in a given day, and there are ways to play that get you much more profit. But not everyone's going to find them fun. So at the end of the day, regardless of what's the best EXP or the best profit, you should play the game in a way that's enjoyable to you, because after all, this is a single-player title and you're not really competing with anyone. But before I get into those things, a quick disclaimer, the game is currently in early access. I recorded all of this footage between 0.43 and 0.44. If I feel like this video becomes significantly outdated, such as for the game's 1.0 release, then there's a good chance I'm going to be making a new one. So do be sure to get subscribed and ring that notification bell so that you'll know as soon as the updated video is out. And for now, let's get into things, starting with how to make the most money in TCG Card Shop Simulator. And so here you have the min-maxed shop. Now, I don't 100% know if I need all 4 sprayers. 2 plus 1 extra to catch the random stinkies to make it through might have been enough, but I went with 4. They come down here, and they get to buy deck boxes. That's right, this is the single highest value and most profitable item I can sell right now, so I'm selling nothing but this, and then I've got a couple of storage shelves for my stockers, and then I've got 2 checkouts. Don't mind this is just leftover from when my shop wasn't fully optimized. So let's open up for today's business and watch the customers flood in. We want 2 registers here because the goal is get people into the shop as quickly as possible and then get them out of the shop as quickly as possible so that most people can buy the most amount of things. And already, people are grabbing tons of boxes. Look at this. Oh my god, it's so much money. Oh my god, it's $798. And he's checking out too, and it's $570. And remember, half of this is profit. We're making hundreds of dollars per transaction. So throughout the course of the day, more people are going to come in. We're going to buy stuff from the shelves. My restockers are going to make sure that shelf stays fully stocked. And yes, we're going to check everyone out. It's going to be like $500 every time. Well, probably not every time. There's going to be a few people who come in who don't have the money. And there's a few people who have way too much money. Yes, $912. If you really want to min-max, this is what peak performance in TCG Card Shop Simulator looks like. Of course, the exact box that you want to use is going to depend on your unlocks. You want the most expensive and also the most profitable. For me, it's legendary card boxes, but I'm guessing the legendary Destiny box is going to be most people's ultimate goal, assuming you level up your shop enough. I'll talk about how to get that EXP in just a second. With that said, personally, I don't like playing this way. Yes, it's hyper optimized. Yes, you're going to make a ton of money. But it kind of ruins the whole fantasy of running a card shop. I mean, this isn't a card shop anymore. This is practically a booster box selling sweatshop, with every employee working significant amounts of overtime, or at the very least, really earning their pay. So I am going to continue to go through for the rest of this day, check everyone out, give you a total at the end so you can see just how profitable this strategy is at shop level 38. First, let's talk about a few things and why. So why 4 sprayers? Because 2 aren't quite enough. A few stinky customers will get past, and we don't want anyone to leave because there's a stinky customer. They also act as a nice little barrier to separate the shop and have people queue up properly. Then, why these? Again, it's simply the single most profitable and most effective product that I could buy at this time. Why so many shelves? Because the more people who come into the shop and are actively buying items, the faster you're going to run out of those items. So you very much need extra stock. Oh, I noticed there's a box on the floor. That's cool. Why 2 checkouts? Because there's too many customers. The faster you cycle things, the more customers are going to come in. You don't want too many people standing around, because the more people who are in your shop, the less likely you are to get more people into the shop. This is also why you don't have card tables. Card tables count as occupied users. So you don't want that. Now, in terms of raw profit, you can actually make quite a bit of raw profit by bulk opening card packs. The problem is that is very time intensive, and it's not that money efficient if you're relying on just the big cards to sell. Plus, that means customers spend more time in your shop, which again, reduces the number of people who come into the shop. You really want people to get into the shop, buy something as fast as possible, and then get out of a shop so another customer can come in. Meaning having them browse all those singles, it really isn't going to be worth it. At the very least, not unless those singles are worth $100 plus each, which means you're going to be opening an astronomical amount of packs every day. And again, opening that many packs is going to take a lot of time in real life, which is less efficient. So if you're caring about nothing but the big numbers, the most efficiency and all that, this is how you set up your shop. Okay, the day is over, the damage is done. I even had to buy extra boxes throughout the day because people were just so voracious to consume this stuff. Hitting enter, 149 customers visited, 100 checked out. The total revenue is $44,460, with over $36,000 of that technically being counted as profit. But of course, stock was purchased yesterday. A lot of that stock was not counted. Realistically, that number is more like 25-ish thousand profit. Even so, $25,000 in profit in a day, every single day. I can repeat this. I can do this as many times as I want. Super, super, super profitable. That's right. That is the trick to running the most optimized card shop. Only sell one thing. The 57 dissatisfied customers, they were people who came in, they wanted to buy something, they couldn't find it. Maybe they didn't like the price on the booster boxes on top of things, but that's fine. They are irrelevant because we sold an average of 3.9 boxes per customer, which is a massive profit when you are making $60. That's right, $60 on average per box. But now let's change gears and talk about how to get the most possible EXP in any given day. And I'm going to do this from the start of a fresh file. There are two things that give you significantly more EXP. One of them is selling a lot of items, and the other one is opening card packs. So we're going to do both of those. First up, just sell a lot of items. I'm going to buy some card packs and just put them out on the shelf. Now, when it comes to selling things, the price that you sell it for actually does impact how likely it is to sell. If you are above market price, it is less likely to sell. Customers may decide, you know what? I don't actually need this today. If it's at market price, it's pretty darn likely to sell, but I would always round it just to an even number like this. However, you could also go below market price, making it much more likely to sell. Which, if you don't care about profit at all, could be worth it just for the EXP, but for now, making $1.27 seems reasonable enough, as we do need money. This is early on in the shop. Next thing to do is open a bunch of boosters. So again, this gives you good EXP. Just watch the top right. I have 40 EXP right now and 55 more. That's because I got one of the rare cards. The more foil cards you get, 22 EXP that time, the more experience you gain. Since the experience you gain is tied to the card's rarity, not to the card's value, it doesn't really matter what packs you open. You could open the basic packs and just keep ripping them and ripping them. That is totally fine as an EXP gaining method. Remember, the goal here is sell things as quickly as possible, but there's a slight problem of opening all these card packs. While it is very, very good in terms of, so if the goal is to sell as much cheap junk as possible, why a card table? Basically, I'm going to put this out just when I have higher value cards as a way to recoup some of the money, because the more of the money you can recoup from all the card packs you open, the more card packs you can buy to get even more experience. As you can see, because the basic card packs are cheap, this guy can't help but buy a whole bunch of them. And you will see a massive amount of experience once we give him his $7.75. There we go, 95 experience. While the price you sell things for does matter just a little bit, overall, it's really about the number of items sold if you want the most experience possible, and luckily the smelly guy did end up leaving. Of course, over time, you'll want to expand the shop to get more customers in. Just make sure that doesn't outpace your profitability, as the more profit you make, the more card packs you can open. The more card packs you can open, the more you can bolster your EXP beyond what sales alone can give you. And this is the slight downside of this setup, where he went in, he bought something, we made $11, that's good, but we didn't get very much experience for the single sale. Though in some cases, as you can see, someone will just buy a single card sleeve, which also isn't great. At this point, I'd say enough of these have sold that it's time to box this up. We'll put that out again later. For now, it's just going to be a matter of maximizing as many sales as possible from the various booster packs and card sleeves. Someone else who's buying basically everything in the shop. I'm going to give her the 250 and change. Nice 78 EXP. We are rapidly headed towards shop level 5. And throughout the day, as more people come in and as more people buy large amounts of items, this is just going to keep totaling. So, it's time to advance through the rest of the day and see what the damage is by the end. Alrighty, day 1 is over. I spent all the profits on more stock, either many card pack booster boxes, or just a few more card packs and boxes of card sleeves. These are going to be really nice to put out for sale for the next day. But there's also going to be quite a bit of time spent opening all of these card packs. The most valuable cards will again go up for sale, but everything else, it's just going to sit there in the collection. You will want to sell some of the things eventually, but right now you really want to have that card table out only when it is most profitable. Because remember, having the card table does mean less people are going to look at those pile of card packs and go, that's a really good deal. You are underpricing this. I don't understand why, but I'm going to buy it immediately. Also, as you can see, the shop is level 6. Which is pretty darn high for day 1, and I suspect it's going to be even higher after I get through all of these card packs. So let's have a fun little card opening montage. So about a half hour later, I opened all the card packs. I got pretty lucky hitting a card that's $1,883. Unfortunately, this probably won't sell tomorrow, as I don't think customers will get rich enough. And then I got a couple other high value cards, which should very much be sellable. So what I'm going to do, hit enter, and we can tally things up. The shop went from level 1 all the way up to level 9, which is about 10,000 total experience. There's about $1,000 in revenue, which of course was immediately reinvested. We sold 6 cards, 399 items. Now, as the shop levels up and as expansions are purchased, more customers will come in. The faster customers come in and get checked out, of course, the more experience you get because of the more sales. That's why we are minimizing the amount of time that the card table's up and not placing any play tables. So, end of day 2. Shop is level 12. 2 expansions purchased. Couple more are going to be purchased soon. And at this point, it's just about doing more of the same, buying more packs of all the money, selling a few singles, putting stuff out so that people can buy in bulk to generate as much EXP as possible, then feeding all of that in and continuing the cycle until you can reach legendary booster packs and legendary booster boxes. Because if you want to min-max for profit, legendary booster boxes are 100% the way to go. And if you wanted to keep min-maxing for EXP, then you want the legendary booster packs. Also, fun fact, not only did I get this card worth 1,926, but I got really lucky and I hit this full art foil ghost card worth $12,000. But the shop definitely can't sell right now because there's no way anyone comes in with enough money for it. But hey, that's pretty cool. And when I do eventually sell it, that's a Steam achievement. It just means I'm going to have to play on the file for a little bit longer. Now let's hit enter. And you can see the effects of a day all tallied up. Yep, 530 cards sold, $2,270, and 9,446 EXP gained. So after spending a couple hours opening packs, here we are. Shop level 20 at the end of day 5. This is because, again, you get a ton of EXP from selling stuff, and you also get a ton of EXP from opening packs. So I'm just going to open this up, go to the stock order, buy the license to the legendary card pack. Yep, that's right. It's time for some Lego packs. This is a point where if you want to just build a normal shop, number 1, I don't blame you. This is not actually that fun because of how many packs you have to open. But also, it is very effective for speed leveling yourself. And you should have at least enough money to go through everything in the early game, maybe even going into the mid game. And yes, this is all without selling the very, very shiny and very, very valuable ghost card. So no, I didn't just cheat or anything and sell this. By the way, it's nearly 13 grand now, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, that's the strat. As I explained it here, you get a ton of EXP per in-game day, but if you really wanted to maximize your EXP per IRL amount of time, say per actual hour, then what you do is you drop the card pack part. Selling lots of stuff is still pretty good EXP. It's going to be less than opening a ton of card packs, but it also takes less time than opening a ton of card packs. Now, just for fun, here's my shop layout. It's not perfect, it's not super min-maxed, but it is reasonably profitable, and personally, I really like how it came out. There's some similarities from the optimized setups. I still do have the line of sprayers to make sure no stinky customers get in, and I do still have the registers out front, because I think this uses the space nicely. But as you'll notice, I am selling booster packs. Again, these are really good for EXP, they are not really good for profit. Over here, I've got some board games, I've got some figurines, and I've got some deck boxes. A good mix of products. Then here, I've got a whole bunch of playmats and some decks. Again, this is largely just stuff that I thought was cool that if I was running a card shop for real, I'd want to stock, and I've left plenty of room for other things in the future. As I level up, I'm definitely going to put something there. I have a display case here with all of the ghost cards that I've pulled so far, all 5 of them. I'm slowly going to fill this display case up. Got some room back here for a few more things, like a couple more deck boxes, and who knows what else. Oh, nice. That's in the floor and vibrating. We love it when our board games are both in the floor and vibrating. Some more card storage here, some more here, but eventually I'm going to have some really expensive cards right over here to lure customers in. Yes, I know that's not really a mechanic, though hopefully someday it will be. And then back here I have the play tables. Yes, I know, they hurt your efficiency. But you know what? It's a card shop, damn it. Every card shop I've ever been in you could play, there were tables. Usually they're in some basement room or some side room or some other place. So that's why I put them over here. And then the workbench, it just didn't fit anywhere else. And I kind of felt bad shoehorning it over here in behind these nice lines of boxes. So that's my shop layout. Oh, right. Last up, but definitely not least, all of my singles. So I'm going to open the shop for the day and you can see it in action. I found that I'm getting roughly $10,000 in revenue every day, which isn't a ton. It's way less than a fully optimized setup would be. But you know what? It feels like I'm running a card shop. I can even go over here and crack a nice pack while my employee rings some people out. Maybe better luck next time on that. Got 2 employees restocking the shelves, so they'll always be perfect. And plenty of different things for the customers to buy to keep them nice and happy. And so, like I said at the top, there's plenty of ways to play. Some are more optimal than others, and ultimately you should pick whichever way you personally find the most fun. So that's exactly what I did here. Now, before I wrap things up, I did want to talk about a couple of quick mechanics that influence some of the decisions made in this video. First up, how do customers work? Now, if you want to know more in a lot of detail, I actually learned a lot from reading this guide on the Steam forums that is genuinely excellent. I'll leave a link down below and you can check it out at your leisure. But in short, customers come in looking for something specific to buy. If they can't find it, depending on the item's price, they'll look around on your shelves and potentially buy something else. If you have card tables available, they'll look at single cards. If they have play tables available, they will have a chance to sit down to play. In general, people are more likely to sit down to play in the evening. One other very important aspect of customer behavior is how many people can be in your shop. There is a limit. It's based on your shop expansion, specifically shop A, and your level. Higher level shop, more expansions, the more people can be in at a given time. But people sitting at play tables count against that limit. This is why you get more sales when you remove their option to sit down at a play table. Now for this last part, I don't have any official confirmation, just a theory on my part as to why the difference is so great with 0 play tables versus play tables. I'm pretty sure if you have nobody in your shop customer-wise, the game is like, oh, we need to fill that shop because there's no one in there and generates more customers. That's what it feels like, and that would also explain why, when you put everything right by the door and cycle people as quickly as possible, more customers come in and you get an absolute flood of sales. In addition to this, customers have different amounts of money. This is kind of random, but the maximum scales with your shop level and the number of expansions you have purchased. So as you grow and as you level up your shop, you're going to get wealthier and wealthier customers. Speaking of, occasionally there are wealthy customers who can just enter your shop who will have at least 2 times as much money as a normal customer. They don't look any different visually. It's just if you're wondering who's buying those 5 and 6K cards, it's those people. This is all why when you really want to min-max, you want to sell one item that is worth the most possible and ideally has the highest profit margins possible, and generally avoid everything else, or at the very least minimize it. I.e., if you wanted to sell a few very high value cards, that would increase your profits, but you'd have to open a ton of packs to get those. Whereas you could also just AFK and day in and day out, just let those card boxes sell and sell and sell. On the other hand, the mechanics of EXP gain are generally based on quantity over quality. Spending more money and getting more money does have some effect. But for the most part, it's about how many items were sold as part of a sale, or when you're opening card packs, the rarities of the cards involved. Now, as a note, these rarities do not refer to like the normal rare, epic, legendary. This refers to the card's rarity, i.e. first edition, silver edition, gold edition, EX, foil, full art. So if you just want a bunch of EXP and don't care about the money, buying and opening a bunch of the standard booster packs is totally fine. These rules around sales and customer behavior is also why the market price plus 10% round is so effective. Customers are very likely to buy something at exactly market price. They're still quite likely to buy something at 10% above, but they're going to be significantly less likely to buy it at, say, 30% above. And also, plus 30% round isn't actually 30% above market price. It's around 33% above market price, because each time you add 10%, you're multiplying on the previous. So 1.1, then 1.1 times 1.1, which is 1.21, not 1.2, and 1.21 times 1.1, which is 1.331. Now, for high-value cards, you can certainly do this to get more raw profits. They won't sell quickly, and early on, if you get a super high-value card, let's say you get a $10,000 card on day one, no one is going to be able to go into your shop to buy that. They simply do not have enough money. But over time, as your shop grows, there's definitely someone who's going to come in, even if you're selling it for $14,000. Now, the last important mechanic that I wanted to touch on is how employees rent and all that works. Rent accrues daily, but you only have to pay it once every 7 days. Technically, you can hold off on paying it for another 7 days after that, basically going into a penalty period. But personally, I don't really advise that, especially because at the end of that second 7-day period, it automatically deducts all of your bills from your balance, including potentially putting you into the negative. The more employees you have, the bigger your shop is, the faster your bills rack up. However, in general, even if you're not optimizing, the amount of money you make in a day should always keep pace with, if not exceed, your bills. Then when it comes to employees, each employee has a speed and they have 2 tasks they can do: stocking shelves or working the checkout. If you have an employee working the checkout, always try to round prices. This means they will spend less time giving out those pennies and change, and honestly, for your own sanity, you should do this anyway. I kind of wish the game's prices just automatically dealt with nice round numbers, just because giving exact change, as in 53 cents, is a huge pain, and those literal pennies are so not worth it in comparison. And then employees can also stock shelves. This means they'll grab a box of stuff, put items on a shelf, or put the box back on a storage rack. I would strongly advise that you tell them to not override shelves. If you do this, every time an item runs out, instead of putting back what was there, they'll just put back something random, and it gets really annoying. So as long as you tell them to do this, it shouldn't be too bad. That said, this portion of a video is very likely to change with future updates. And because a lot of these things like customer behavior and how many come in and how much money they have are tied to, relatively speaking, hidden formulas, there's also a chance that the effects of a patch won't be known immediately. So if I see anything big that people are talking about in the comments, I'll try to remember to pin it. But at this point, I'd say the video is getting about long enough, so thank you very much for watching. If you want some basics of just getting into the game, not min-maxing, not worrying about anything like that, a few tips and tricks to get you started, quite a few of the things I say in this video do change from what I said in my original beginner's guide, But as an early game experience for someone who's not trying to get the absolute most profit, I do still think that's an excellent video that'll set you up and get you into the flow of a gameplay. Also, on the other hand, if you're not worried about min-maxing, you don't need tips and tricks, but you just want to see some fun runs, I have 2 challenge runs that I'll link up in the card and down below, and you can check out after this. When I first started playing, I thought, oh, these mechanics are simple, this should be really easy, and to an extent it was. Like I said before, the game is very forgiving, it's very hard to actually get a game over, fail state, or soft lock, but there's a lot more depth than I originally thought, especially when it comes to min-max stuff, which is not only game-breaking, but incredibly, incredibly profitable. We're talking orders of magnitude more profit if you're doing the min-max game-breaking stuff than if you're playing in the quote-unquote intended or regular way. So it was a pretty darn fun journey to go through and discover all of that. With that said, thank you very much for watching to the end. I'm glad you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.